You're watching Solar Impulse TV. It is 10 Zulu, as we say here, or GMT, or even UTC, if you prefer. That is midday here in Monaco at the Mission Control Center, and it is 6 p.m. in China, in Chongqing. Hello, welcome to our pre-flight show. That's pre-flight. That means, yeah, there's going to be a flight. I know it's been slightly longer than we've been expecting. In fact, it's been about 3 weeks since we last had a show, so we're very happy to be back and very happy to finally be getting this airplane in the air. Now, the team here at Monaco have been working tirelessly, pretty much non-stop, to try and get us to where we are now. The head of that team is a man who's looking a little less tired than he should be, Mr. Raymond Clerc, looking well rested. Hello.
Hello.
It's been extraordinary. I've been here in Monaco with you over these last 3 weeks, and it hasn't been a holiday at the pool. It's been here next to me, all these guys sitting, trying to work out a way. It's been very, very complicated.
Yeah, it was not easy. If you remember, we thought to do a pit stop in Chongqing to stay there about 10 hours or so, and now almost 3 weeks. We had different problems. The weather situation was not easy. Sometimes we had a strong north wind over China. Sometimes we had bad weather either on the takeoff or for the landing. We tried a lot of different solutions with pit stop in Wuhan or so. But finally now, I think for tonight here in Monaco and tomorrow, Tuesday in China, we have a good window, and I'm confident we'll do it.
Yes, and we're all very happy about that. As you say, lots of different strategies being tested out over the last 3 weeks. Wuhan, Hefei, another place turned up, and there was a third airport as well at some point, which was a possible, either an alternate airport or a way of getting there. We've had different altitudes as well, trying to go higher, trying to go lower. As you say, all these different meteorological conditions, which just, I think, remind us, for those who think it's easy, remind us how complicated it is just at any time getting Solar Impulse off the ground.
Yeah, it's very, very complex. A lot of external factors. But for us, it was very interesting because it's also a good training for the next legs. You know, we are experiencing, trying new solutions, and this is always very helpful. And okay, now here we are, and confident. It's funny because 2 or 3 days ago, we even thought it's not possible for Tuesday, and now it's improving, and I think it's stable. We'll have an update briefing in 50 minutes, but I'm confident.
Okay, so even though you haven't had your final pre-flight briefing, you're pretty confident that it's all going well, and by tomorrow in China time, we'll be heading off.
Yes, I'm sure.
So once we get into Nanjing, then it's the next preparation. I think there'll be a bit of a break for the team at the Mission Control, because you've really got to be prepared, as much as the pilots, for what's going to be a really, really grueling flight.
Yeah, for the flight before the Pacific, we have done some retro planning, and we think we need at least 10 days there because we need to make a careful check of the aircraft after these 6 legs. We need really also for the pilot to be fully prepared, fully trained in the cockpit. And we'll spend some time with André, which will be the pilot for the first leg over the ocean. He will be in the cockpit, and we'll be here in Monaco, and we'll try all the different solutions, all the different transfer of papers, of documents. You know, we'll do an update briefing every 12 hours. So we need to see and to train how we transfer those documentation, because he has no printer in the aircraft. So let's make it simple, clear, and this we need to train. The pilot also need to train how to change clothes, all this like change batteries in different systems, you know. So we need sometimes, and I think a period of 10 days there will be about the need we have before saying, okay, now we are ready. Then we need to find a good window. It can last 2-3 days, it can last 3 weeks, because this one is really the most important, and it's very complex to go towards Hawaii, and the flight could last up to 5 days, 5 nights.
And you've been back in Switzerland recently. You spoke to André Borschberg, who's headed back for a bit of a break. How's he?
Yes, he's fine. He's recovering fine, and he plans to go back to China in 2 or 3 days, I think, or end of the week. Yeah.
Okay, and let's get back to this flight briefly, and I'll let you prepare for the briefing. We are planning on 2200 GMT at the moment, which is midnight in Monaco. And is that still up to date? You're still looking at that time for takeoff?
Yeah, it's we have 30 minutes margin. After 6:30 China's time, we are not allowed to take off. So we plan 6 o'clock in the morning, and we have some margin, but we'll be ready.
Okay, Raymond Klein, Mission Director, thank you very much,
thank you.
and I'll see you later for the briefing. And a reminder that we are fully expected, you heard Raymond there, very confident that we will be taking off tonight GMT time and tomorrow morning China time for the next leg from Chongqing to Nanjing. And it's been around 3 weeks since this plane was last flying, so let's have a quick reminder of what the plane looked like when it's flying. Here is the last leg from Mandalay to Chongqing.
We believe that what is the most important is not the size of what we have, but the quality of what we give. And the legacy is so important. Why are people remembered?
Welcome. Welcome to Solar Impulse. We are very honored. Thank you. Let me introduce you to my friends.
Our airplane, to be able to fly with the sun, is the most energy efficient airplane ever built. And if we use these technologies, we can reduce energy consumption, which means that in fact the energy we have available today can be spread among more people.
Nothing can beat the hospitality that we received here. The welcome of this airport, the collaborations with the ATC, everything was done to make this flight possible. Everything was done to make this flight safe. So we are also extremely thankful for this really fantastic attitude.
You know, in this project we are very ambitious in the goals we have, but we are very modest in front of the difficulties facing us, because it has never been done. You know, an airplane flying like this day and night has never existed in the past. And we are now entering almost every flight to another country. So each time there are challenges, but I really would like to emphasize the good collaboration there was between China and Switzerland.
Goodbye Myanmar! Goodbye Mandalay! Thank you for your welcome!
Okay, Monaco, I have engine stop, beacon on, I have the clearance for the tower, E for rotation, and here we are. 3, 2, and start.
Very well done, Bertrand.
Thank you, everybody.
You know, for André and me, it's a privilege, it's an honor to bring the first solar-powered airplane to the biggest city in the world, Chongqing, and to the biggest country in the world, China. This is amazing for us. It's an honor to be here, and it's the result of years of work for our team, years of work, of preparation, construction, testing.
Well, we were only supposed to stay a few hours in Chongqing, and we've ended up staying for around 3 weeks. That video took place at the end of March, believe it or not. And finally, we're expecting to leave to head to Nanjing tomorrow. So during those 3 weeks, have we been well received, or are the people of Chongqing absolutely sick and ready to see the back of us? Well, I put that question to our digital marketing manager in China, Yin Fang.
Well, I guess the answer can be very short and clear. Solar Impulse is being very well received in China. Every day we're getting more and more attention and interest from the public, and it's not only from our friends in Chongqing and Nanjing, where our plane passed by, but also from all other parts of China. Because I'm managing the Weibo account of Solar Impulse, I can see from the back office that our followers are almost equally distributed in terms of geographical zones. And there are, of course, a lot of aviation amateurs and aviation professionals. But with the increasingly intensive media coverage, I can see that there are more and more common people who are getting interested too.
Because it seems to me, Yin, that pollution and clean technologies, they're really big topics in China now.
Yes. Well, I mean, with all the current environmental issues that we're having, people are getting more and more concerned by this. And I think people start to raise doubts about our current mode of economic development, which is not really environmentally friendly. And more importantly, people also start to seek solutions positively to deal with the situation. And I think our Solar Impulse's flights in China can be a very nice opportunity to show the Chinese people about the ecological and also economic utility of using clean technologies.
Now, Yin, you're speaking to us in Nanjing, and I know there are lots of things being prepared. Give us an idea of what kind of events and public and private events are being prepared there right now.
Currently, we are preparing a very rich program together with our partners. The themes cover solar energy, clean technologies, aviation, etc. And I guess what's worth pointing out is the educational activities that we're going to organize. For example, with CAST, with China Association of Science Technology, we will hold an event where we invite student representatives from both primary and secondary schools to listen to the pilot's speech and to interact with our team members. And also with SwissNet Shanghai, we are going to hold a similar event with students from colleges. And I think it's a very good opportunity for us to pass our messages to China's younger generations.
Well, talking of messages, Yin, before you go, give us a short message in Chinese for your growing number of fans in China.
好的，接下来我用中文向大家说几句。那大家都知道，我们的阳光动力2号马上就要从这个重庆江北机场起飞，前往我们南京的入口机场。那这一段航程呢，也是本次环球飞行当中唯一一段全程都在中国的这么一段航程。我在微博上面也看到了大家不管是重庆的，还是南京的，还是全国各地的网友，都非常的大家热情都非常踊跃。那在此作为微博小编，我向大家表示由衷的感谢。同时呢，我也想号召大家一起来参加我们这个清洁未来的签名计划。那我们从昨天开始，展开了一项签名送礼品的这么一项活动。那么从4月11号一直到4月26号，我们每天都会从新注册的用户当中选出正取积分，也就是说，成功邀请亲友最多的这么2位用户，送上我们的这个环球飞行的徽章。希望大家能持续的来关注。在此，我对大家再次表示感谢。
Great, thank you very much, Yin. I'll tell you, that boy's going to be a star in China very soon if he isn't already. That was Yin Fang, Digital Marketing Manager in China, in Nanjing to be precise, telling us about how well Solar Impulse has been received so far in China. We were just supposed to stay for a few hours in Chongqing. We ended up staying for 3 weeks. But as this pre-flight show suggests, we will be taking off at 10 tonight. That's 2200 hours GMT or UTC, or as they like to say over here, Zulu. Don't ask me why, but they just do. And we will, of course, be following that. We will be beginning tonight's program half an hour before takeoff, so that will be at 9:30 GMT tonight. So come back and join us. But still plenty to come on today's pre-flight show. We're going to be finding out more about the MCC team, speaking to Michi from the mission engineering team. Bit of a roundup of the press attention we've been getting internationally and in China, and also a reminder of why we're all doing this. What is Future is Clean? If you don't know, well, you should. And if you still don't know, we're going to have Vincent Colgrave from the web team on the show, and that's coming up in a few minutes' time. But before then, well, let's head back to China. Yin Fang was in Nanjing already, and our team have had a bit of time to travel around. Some people I know went to Hong Kong. There were people in Shanghai from the team, and of course in Chongqing itself. So let's have a bit of a reminder of some of the best moments from the last 3 weeks.
How light is it?
Yes.
Switzerland and China have been friends for 65 years, it has been underlined. And there is good reason for that, to go on for many, numerous coming years. You see, China is the largest and most dynamic country in the world, and Switzerland is considered to be the most innovative and competitive country, so we have much to share.
Ni hao. Good afternoon to all of you. It's a real privilege to be here today. I mean, these are moments that we really like with Bertrand. To sit down, to be with you, the next generation will make the world of tomorrow.
So when you see our airplane flying, sometimes with André at the control, sometimes with me. Remember, this is an example. This is a symbol. It's an inspiration for you to do the same in your life.
也可以运用，如果能的话，能否运用到现在世界上最大的飞机波音747上面？
The first airplanes 100 years ago could not either transport passengers because it was the beginning of a cycle. Now we make the beginning of a new cycle and we will see where it will lead us. But first, really remember, the technologies we have in the airplane can be used on the ground for mobility, for construction, for life, for industry, to have a better quality of life.
So there you can see it's been all go for the Solar Impulse team in China. And I'll tell you what, we haven't been slacking here. Now just behind me, the MCC team have been working their little European butts off, trying to get this plane onto the... There we go, there's Mickey and the rest of the team. Let's see if you can say hi. There you go, all the mission engineering team at the back there working very hard. And some people have been saying, well, what do they do exactly? Do they just sit behind screens all day? No, sometimes they get off the screens, but mostly, yeah, they're sitting behind screens. But doing what? Well, we went to speak to Mickey, the head of the mission engineering team, and he gave us the lowdown.
My name is Michael Enger. I'm a mission engineer in Solar Impulse. I started at Solar Impulse as an intern in flight test because I had some experience therefore. Then I grew up with Solar Impulse with the project and did my master's thesis there in this project about the system safety process. And then more and more I became a leading person in the mission team. My role, our role as mission engineers is to, on the forehand, to plan the flight, to think about the strategy, where we're gonna fly, what's the altitude profile we want to fly? Do we want to fly low and fast, or do we go up to high altitude? What's the weather? What's the situation? So what we did the last years, the whole team, we prepared the corridor around the world, looking for a good flight path with favorable conditions for meteorology, ATC, energy of the airplane. So therefore, we need to have a good understanding of the technical details of this airplane in terms of performance. We need to understand how the pilot wants to fly, because there's a lot of tasks to do for the pilot during a altitude profile during days, so he's on oxygen or he has to sleep. All this stuff is in our mind and we have to consider it during the planning phase. And then when we actually plan a flight, getting closer to a flight, we listen to our meteorologist, giving us a good window, and then we collect all the information which is necessary to conduct the flight. This means the routing we want to fly, the meteorology, a pilot input, and the aircraft. And especially the pilot input is very important. So we are more or less a interface for the pilots, because they are abroad, they are not in the MCC, and they have specific wishes and trainings they want to do before going for a long flight like the Pacific. So they give us their needs, and all in all we mix it and make a good flight plan out of that, which consists out of the routing, the altitude profile, flying low in the morning, climb during the day, charge the batteries, go to high altitude, have good ground speed, have good potential energy, and then mission descent into the night, stay on battery, do resting, stuff like that. Yeah. The challenge is we do something nobody did ever, so it's nice to try it, and there are not a lot of projects around in the world where you can try something as crazy as that. It's really difficult to find, and especially in aviation. So most of our heart is beating here for aviation and flying, and this fascination of being off the ground And it makes it so special because it's flying on solar, it's flying long, it's flying with one pilot, he has to sleep. No airliner allows sleeping in the cockpit, not intentionally. So this makes it special, yeah.
Yes, a special project. Thank you, Mickey Anger from the Mission Engineering team, and indeed everyone from the MCC team who've been doing all they can to get the plane off the ground. It's been 3 weeks now since Solar Impulse landed in Chongqing, and finally it looks like we're going to make it. So a reminder that we will be taking off at 2200 GMT tonight, and our takeoff show will begin half an hour earlier. For those of you who are good at maths, that's 9:30 GMT tonight for the next show from Chongqing to Nanjing in China. So 3 weeks, lots of interest so far, not just in China, but around the world. Let's head over right now to the press review. We start with CNN and a report from journalist David Molko called Stuck in China. And David sounds more frustrated than the Solar Impulse team.
Call it the world's longest layover. The Solar Impulse, the plane that's meant to be flying around the world without a single drop of fuel, has been grounded here in China. It's been here more than 2.5 weeks, and there is no departure date in sight. Now, that is because in order to take off, this plane needs almost perfect weather conditions. It needs clear skies, calm winds, and good conditions not only for the takeoff, but the entire route and the landing.
And here's an extensive article in Forbes China covering the pilot's media briefing in Shanghai and taking an in-depth look into the Picard family, back to Bertrand's grandfather, Auguste. He was the first man to see the curvature of the Earth and was a well-known figure in the early 20th century. Here we see him at one of the prestigious Solvay scientific conferences in the company of none other than Albert Einstein. Beijing Science and Technology report concentrates on the bonds of friendship between the two pilots since the beginning of the adventure, and includes these handy pictures of the flight path, the cockpit, and the trajectory followed during Solar Impulse flights, using the sun to gain altitude and store battery power during the day, and then descending during the night, using those batteries to keep the plane flying until sunrise the following day. And here's a newspaper with the best name ever for a newspaper, The Paper. No fancy stuff, just The Paper. Although actually it has videos, like this one.
The first airplane flying day and night without fuel comes from two people in the team who had never built an airplane.
3, 2, 1, go! We made it, guys!
We made it! Absolutely unbelievable.
When I flew Solar Impulse from Mandalay to Chongqing, I was thinking, here I'm back again.
No surprise that the Chongqing press has been taking an interest, given we've been hanging around there for so long. The Chongqing Evening News, presumably wondering who pays for all this, marvels at the 80 partners that Solar Impulse has amassed in order to, well, pay for all this. The Chongqing Daily picks up on the preparations and training for the Pacific crossing from Nanjing to the US, a huge challenge for the pilots, with non-stop flights lasting up to 5 days and nights. And the People's Daily notes that, beyond the fact that this is a major milestone in solar aviation, Solar Impulse is also about finding alternatives to fossil fuels and showing the world what can be achieved with clean technologies. Yes, clean, as in future is clean. Remember? futureisclean.org. Exactly. Now just click I agree. It's as easy as that. That was a smooth old link to Future is Clean, futureisclean.org. You click I agree. I want concrete actions for a cleaner future. Mr. Vincent Colgrave is with me now from the web team. Hello.
Hello, Connor.
So 3 weeks, Vincent. Have you been lying around the pool? Have you been working hard?
We have been working hard to prepare this flight and to try to explain to people why we were stuck in Chongqing. And also, we begin to think about the Pacific Ocean.
And Future is Clean. That was my smooth link into Future is Clean. I did that just for you, Vincent. Tell me, has it been having the success in China that you hoped for? Yin was pretty optimistic there.
Yes, we begin to have like a lot of success in China. Several organizations joined Future is Clean. And I'm really proud to tell you that 50 organizations around the world are now backing Future is Clean. So this is the beginning of the movement that we're trying to build.
Can you tell me about some of those organizations?
Some are coming from Brazil, Russia, from Europe, from the USA, and they're mainly active in terms of environment, in terms of clean technologies. Some are gatherings companies who are acting, trying to change the way they are doing their business. So it's really like a different way all around the world.
Okay, for those who are new to Future is Clean, there may be some left in the world. Could you give us a bit of a reminder of what it's all about?
We are building a movement to bring voices to COP21, which is the climate conference that will take place in December in Paris, to try to build a new Kyoto Protocol. And the idea is to really create a movement of people who want to implement concrete actions for a clean future, who want really to change the way things are being done today.
Okay, well, we'll come back to Future is Clean in just a minute. Before then, Vincent, let's look at the way people have been reacting since we last spoke some 3 weeks ago. Feels like a long time. It was a long time. Let's have a look at this now. some of the action on social media over the last 3 weeks. Just 3 weeks since we last landed, and that was in Chongqing, and we are expected to take off tonight. That's GMT, 2200 hours from Chongqing to Nanjing. Vincent Colgrave from the web team is with me here. A few things to take out from that little peek, that best of. For example, the record for staying on the ground. That was a nice one. A joke, by the way. Bertrand Piccard has flown backwards. That was the cartoon. Of course, Bertrand Piccard has flown backwards. As he says, he thinks he's got the record for flying backwards in an aeroplane. How many other people have done that? I don't know, and hopefully not too many. We had Lunar Impulse. Remember Lunar Impulse?
Exactly. It was a joke in Switzerland from Coca. It was really successful and quite funny.
Did you buy your lunar airplane?
I did not, because I was busy here working for Solar Impulse.
Okay, a lunar-powered airplane. Okay, it was an April Fool, by the way. And there was a message about Yao Maguire from Facebook, who is heading up a team which has as its remit to find a way to bring internet to parts of the world that don't have any internet. And one of the ideas they're looking at is solar-powered drones, which would obviously be much cheaper than satellite. And I know there's been some discussion with the Solar Impulse team, so who knows what will happen. But before then, we need to get around the world. And after we get to Nanjing, the next big challenge, the biggest challenge so far, is going to be the 120-hour flight across the Pacific. And you are going to brighten things up on the social media landscape. Vincent, you've got some ideas.
Yes, well, the team has some ideas, and we're working on the fun part. What can we do to have everyone joining, following the 5 days and 5 nights flight? And this is where we are trying to set up jokes, to set up really how people will be able to interact with us, sending us pictures, videos, and so on. And we heard also that Brian might come back. This is what we heard.
Yes, Brian. We haven't seen him for a while. Solar Impulse Brian. Google that and you'll know what we're talking about. But there is a rumor that Brian is coming back for the Pacific.
Sure, and we are really happy to see that.
Okay, and if you have any ideas as well, I'm sure Vincent and the team would be delighted to hear from them. If you can think of fun things you can do to follow the pilots over this 5-day, 5-night challenge, it's going to be huge. If you want to stay up for the whole 5 days, although I don't know what your doctor would say about that, or if you want to try eating like the pilots, you could try sitting in a small confined space for 5 days. I'm not going to do that, but if you want to try that, and if someone can take a funny video of it, then so much the better. Any more thoughts, Vincent, or should we leave it there for now?
I guess we will wait to see what people are saying after this live session.
Yes, and let's get to Nanjing first. Anyway, Nanjing, once again, 2200 hours tonight. Our show begins at 9:30 GMT tonight, so stay tuned. And for further updates between now and then, don't forget, you can find it all here on solarimpulse.com.